just find a comfortable place to be, just wherever you are. I like to close my eyes just because it helps me kind of focus. But I want you to just keep in mind that you can be moving around, you can be laying down, you can be doing dishes or whatever. And as long as you're doing it mindfully, then that's perfect. So I like to start off just by breathing deeply. So whether or not your eyes are closed, just find a sense of place. Just kind of noticing where you are in space and time. And one way that I really enjoy doing that is just taking big breaths in and big exhales. So finding that you can use all the available space in your lungs, in your belly, expanding outward on the inhale, and compressing inward on the exhale. And more often than not, you'll notice that, especially if you've been doing things all day, your body will tend to default to this more of a working breath pattern where the breath gets a bit short and a bit shallow. And so that's okay. Just notice that. Do your best to make it longer and deeper. And pretty naturally, if you're paying attention to your breath, you'll start to notice things about your body. You'll start to notice any places that you might be holding tension. Especially when you breathe deeply, you'll notice that tension maybe across your chest as it expands and contracts. Right, so just notice that. And it's okay to just notice it without feeling like you have to fix it or change it right now. Just notice. And continuing your long, slow breath. Continuing noticing where your breath helps you notice tension that you can release, maybe just naturally, moment by moment, without really trying. I like to lengthen the breath more and more, finding a count that you can do. And I like to start with a 6 count inhale and a 6 count exhale, but of course it can be anything else that works best for you. And so hopefully after just a few minutes of breathing and noticing your body, you feel a bit more grounded, a bit more present. So one of my other favorite tools with meditating, so after you've got your long, slow breath pattern kind of going, you've kind of drawn inward and just become aware of where you are, we can start to do a body scan. And you can use your breath as a tool. So if you notice the place that your breath comes in, so assuming you're breathing mostly through your nose right now, you can notice your nostrils and feel the breath come in. And feel the breath go out. And using your very finely tuned senses to notice everything about that spot. So you might notice things like the temperature of the breath coming in, and the temperature of the breath going out. Perhaps you notice that it's a little cooler coming in, a little drier. A little warmer and moist coming out of your lungs. You can notice also the actual sensation of the breath moving in and out, kind of dragging through your nostrils. And when we focus our attention on something like this, something so small, something that we wouldn't normally notice, we're kind of harnessing our awareness in the moment. And whatever's going on in the moment, whether it's pleasant or unpleasant, or trivial or earth-shaking, we're in this moment. And there's a lot of peace and there's a sense of harmony with what is. And that's powerful. And so continue your body breath scan. So you can move your awareness further down your breath path, the path of your breath, to the back of your throat. Notice how the breath feels kind of dragging through the back of your throat. And if you want, you can employ a yoga breathing technique. Okay, very simple. You probably do it on your own sometimes. It's called Ujjayi breath or victorious breath. And it's very simple. You just gently constrict the back of your throat. Another way to say that is you try to make the breath kind of loud in your ears. I like to think of it as an ocean roar, or so that someone sitting next to you could hear your breath. So whether or not you're trying that out, feel the breath moving in your trachea. Notice it coming in. Notice it going out. You can feel it on the back of your tongue, on the roof of your mouth. Notice the sound in your ears. I think it sounds like waves on a beach. Okay, continuing that breath body scan, bring your awareness further down the breath path, okay, to your heart space, okay, you can think of it as like the top half of your lungs. And there's a lot of movement happening here, and it's kind of subtle. And we don't really notice it all the time because we do it in our sleep. We do it whether we're thinking about it or not. But see if you could sense all of the huge expansion happening across your chest, but notice also the backside of your ribs too. Okay, at the tops of your shoulder blades, at the base of your neck. It's all expanding outward on the inhale. And it's all compressing inward on the exhale. Take some time just noticing that feeling. then you might notice when you are doing your best to focus on some sort of detail or other, that your thoughts will kind of crowd in and say, okay, we know you're trying to relax, but we have these issues that we need you to resolve. And that's okay. It's okay if you notice your thoughts doing that. That's their job. So maybe with a little amusement, you acknowledge those thoughts, those responsibilities kind of crowding in. You acknowledge them. And then bring your awareness back to focusing on the breath, sensations in your body, things that are real right now. What is real right now? See if you could feel the breath entering your lungs, cool and fresh. Feel it leaving your lungs, warm and wet. We'll continue that breath path scan, okay, moving your awareness a little further down and maybe more toward the center. Notice your heart. Okay, if you're still and quiet, you might even be able to feel it beating. Nestled between your lungs, massaged by your breathing, right? When we breathe deeply like this, we're actually massaging all the tissue on the inside of the chest, including your heart cavity. Halfway through your meditation, notice if your heart and your breath have slowed at all. All right, bring the awareness even further down to the bottom half of your lungs. Think of it as the bottom part of your rib cage, not just in the front, but in the back as well. Okay, all of that, same thing, expanding on your inhales, compressing on your exhales. And we can draw attention here to a very crucial aspect of your whole breathing mechanism, and that is your extremely miraculous diaphragm, which is a bowl-shaped muscle underneath your lungs, kind of holds your lungs in a little beautiful bowl shape. And when you inhale, your diaphragm draws downward and sucks air into your lungs. So feel that diaphragm drawing downward, kind of compressing your belly organs. And when you exhale, the diaphragm doesn't really do anything. It simply relaxes and presses upward effortlessly. See if you can notice that. It's such a wonderful blessing to be able to breathe deeply with clean air. Healthy lungs. If you notice your thoughts here, That's okay. Allow the thoughts to come up like birds twittering in a tree nearby. You wouldn't try to change the birds or get rid of them. You would just notice them and go back to what you're doing. So let's continue tracing that breath path, okay? Further down, past your actual breathing organs and muscles to your belly space. So thinking of everything between your ribs and your hips. Of course, not just in the front, but bring your awareness also to the back, okay? Everything between the ribs and the hips in the back. Lots of muscle, lots of organs, lots of nerves and blood vessels. As you inhale, all of that gets compressed by your diaphragm. That's good. It's a massage, it's a detox. Okay, on your exhales, the diaphragm moves up. The belly muscles compress inward. Think of a basket weave of belly muscles pressing inward on the exhale, supporting your low back, okay? Helping your digestion and your confidence. Take a few breaths using all of that belly space when you breathe. It should feel really nice. Notice your thoughts here. And it's okay if you just want to label it and say, I was thinking just now. And just go back to being aware of the moment as it unfolds. No one can predict what's going to happen next. We just enjoy it. Okay, let's take our breath body scan even further down. So moving from your belly space, notice your hips and your connection to the earth. So if you're seated, then that'll be, of course, your hips where you're sitting. If you're laying down, it'll be your whole back body. And if you're standing and doing things, it'll be your feet and your legs. So wherever you are, whatever you're doing, shift your awareness to your connection to the earth. Okay. Finding maybe a moment where you use your imagination here. Okay. So connect with your inner child here. Connect to your vivid imagination. And imagine that with each inhale, you're drawing up all of the good things, nourishment, energy, kindness, okay, abundance. You're drawing all this up from the earth, from your connection to the earth, okay? And you can imagine with your exhales, you are releasing anything that's no longer necessary. And this could be anything. It could be some tension you found in your neck just now. It could be an idea that you've been carrying around that you don't need anymore. It could be a pattern that you want to let go of. It could be anything. Use your imagination. With your inhale, you're filling yourself with everything you need to move forward as a compassionate human. And with your exhales, let everything else go. Back down into the earth to be recycled. And tracing that breath path still. In through the nose. And out through the nose. Hopefully you feel a sense of softness and ease